Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to 2024, the first live stream. Decided to make today's live stream public at the last minute. So we're going to get started. Normally I do these for POW private members, but we'll get started here in just a moment. We'll give it another 30 seconds to a minute. I see we have quite a few people joining. Welcome to the first live stream of 2024. It's Rod with POW Group. We're going to get started here in just a moment. Just sit tight. All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from, everybody. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Wednesday, it's January 3rd. As I mentioned, brand new year, so Happy New Year. First live stream of 2024, and many to come. Normally I do these live streams for private POW Group members, but today there was a lot going on, and I decided at the very last minute I'd make it public. So I know the video says private live stream, but obviously made this one public. So if anybody does have any ticker requests, let me know inside of the live chat. I'll get to the ones from POW Group members first. I don't have a lot of time today, just a heads up. I've got about 25 minutes or so. So I do have to run after that as I have another commitment. So like I said, we'll do about 25 minutes. If anybody does have any ticker requests, we'll get to those at the end. But as always, generally what I do for POW Group private members, about 30 minutes before the US stock market closes, I come online about 30 minutes before the close and then go through a market update. I give my thoughts and opinions on the market and then jump into some ticker requests. So if anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know the ticker and the exchange that it is on as well. And I'll do my best to get to those at the end of the live stream. But like I said, hopefully everybody had a great holiday season and an absolute wonderful new year to each and every one of you. Before we get started, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future live streams or whenever I post a new video. But as always, nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. So you should never ever take it as financial advice. So obviously we had a massive dump today in the crypto space, which ended up being a lot of FUD and uncertainty. I'm still not 100% this matrix board is what actually caused the dump. I think it was just overdue, and we were due for a healthy correction in the crypto space. If we take a look at Bitcoin here on the weekly time frame, we finally started weekly consolidation. So it's just funny how, everybody wants something to blame all the time. It's like, oh, it's this, this random company that no one ever heard about, provided an opinion that essentially the SEC wasn't going to approve multiple ETFs. Well, take a look at the weekly chart. We hadn't consolidated on the weekly time frame in 12 weeks. So this is the 12th week finally where we lost the low of the previous weekly candle. So when you see that, that pattern where you have a higher low every single candle, you know that we're due for a pullback soon. And screw what the media says, right? Who cares what these opinions are? Until we actually get a headline saying the SEC denies the ETFs, then who cares about anybody's opinion? It's an opinion, right? But if you see after 12 weeks in a row where we haven't lost a low of the previous weekly candle and someone calls it a crash and, unexpected and they need something to blame, they're just borderline insane because you don't need anything to blame. It's just inevitable, right? Nothing goes straight up in a straight line, and market makers are greedy and they like to sell the top, cause FUD. And then yesterday, I mentioned in my XRP video today, actually, I'll just bring that up here real quick because I didn't do it. But I mentioned that in that video, just load it up real quick here. I mentioned that yesterday I was in the sauna. It was hilarious. I was literally thinking like, oh, we haven't heard from Jim Cramer in a while, and the market's been ripping. Last time he said, stay away from Bitcoin, then it went up over 100%, and then literally like 10 minutes later, after I got out of the sauna, I saw all this stuff on Twitter or X, and it was literally Jim Cramer saying it was basically a huge turnaround story and a comeback, and I'm like, oh god, here we go, weekly consolidation coming, right? So it's just so hilarious that they cue this guy every time they're looking for exit liquidity or a buying opportunity, right? But here's the video I did on XRP 12 days ago. It was actually on, I think it was more than that. It was on the 21st. So it was on, it's just about 2 weeks ago. I posted that video and I said 50 cents incoming, and we were at around, I think, 65 cents or something like that at the moment. I said we might even see a flash crash below 40 cents. And sure enough, we hit 48 cents today. And then I posted a video 6 hours ago, 50 cents flat, 50 cents target reached. If only someone warned us, right? So it's funny, at the beginning of that video, I said, technical analysis, either it doesn't work or I have a crystal ball and I can predict the future. Because a lot of people say technical analysis doesn't work. Well, that's because they have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't, figured out how to use the tools that were given to them. But very, very clear today that XRP, look at that weekly consolidation, hit 48 cents. I said 50 cents or a flush thereof, potentially. And we could even dip below, maybe around that 43 cent area. That was the descending triangle, and we also had that target there as well, and we also have this support trend line that lined up around that 45 cent area. So we could still see a little bit more weakness, but this could very well be the bottom being set on XRP before we see massive price appreciation. And I do think that we could see Ripple IPO in 2024, and I think that we could still see a settlement between Ripple and the SEC as the most likely scenario. But look at that huge lower wick. I think it was just mostly liquidation. Longs and leveraged positions getting liquidated. But I mean, realistically, there's nothing to worry about. And we did confirm a weekly downtrend on XRP as well. We had our high, low, lower high, and lower low. So once we lost 57 cents here, we confirmed a weekly downtrend. If you went short there, that was a short opportunity of about 15%. Obviously, no one could have predicted that flash crash, but it is what it is. It doesn't have to happen in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks. It's saying that's the target of the price, irrelevant of time. So it could happen in whether it gets to that target in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, it doesn't matter. It's just saying that it's probably going to get there at some point soon as the most likely scenario, right? And then sure enough, it actually played out today. But yeah, anybody who's telling you that this was a FUD piece or whatever, just look at a chart and tell them to learn how to read a chart. When something goes up for 12 weeks in a row, we barely consolidated at all. From the low of last week on Bitcoin to the low of this week, we're only down 1.5%. Oh, biggest crash in market history, right? Oh my God. Sell all your Bitcoin. Sell all your crypto. Like, come on, give me a break. It's just so funny how people are so easily tweaked and just, I don't even listen to mainstream media anymore because I don't need to. I look at the chart and I'm like, okay, 12 weeks in a row with a higher low every single candle. We have no support down to 26,000. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we pulled back to 38, 35,000. And then today we only pulled back to 40,000, which I would consider very, very healthy. And I wasn't worried about it at all. And you go on crypto Twitter or crypto X and you just see everybody losing their ever loving mind. I don't understand it. If you're one of those people, you're definitely not going to make it in the financial markets. I know people love to hear what they want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And if you were rattled by the market downturn today, you have a lot to learn. You have a lot to work on because this was to be expected. And it's still a potential weekly bull flag. Anything over 36,000, a potential weekly bull flag on Bitcoin. If we lose 36,000, that negates it. We're probably heading down to that 0.5, around 34 to 32 in the golden pocket. But if we maintain 36,000 and we break above resistance here at 46,000, we're probably heading to the weekly bull flag target of about 58K. And then we'd only be, less than, about $10,000 away from all-time highs. So keep in mind, Congress still hasn't been banned from owning stocks yet. I seen an article today that Congress is doing better than some money managers out there. So some members of Congress are up like 200, 300% on their portfolios, and they're doing better than money managers and portfolio managers who do this for a living. Might that be because of corruption and manipulation? 110%. We can't have fair and orderly markets like the SEC is set out to do in their mission statement. It's quite the opposite. It's to protect the Wall Street banks and the financial institutions and the hedge funds while using retail as a scapegoat and exit liquidity and just a way to scare the living daylights out of them on the way down so that they capitulate, sell you their cheap shares, and then on the way up they FOMO you in and they make you use you as exit liquidity, right? So Congress doing better than some financial, portfolio managers just makes a whole lot of sense, right? So eventually, we're starting to see more and more information like this on the media, right? We're seeing Congress is doing better than money managers. I bet you any money this year in 2024, we're probably going to see a bill to ban and gain traction. We've already seen proposals and bills go through with regards to lawmakers being banned from owning stocks. And I think I have one handy here. If I just bring it up here. And this will be the top indicator in my opinion. So yeah, lawmakers renew push to ban congressional stock trading. So if you recall, at the top of the last bull market, the Feds banned themselves from owning stocks right back here. Sorry, this is the weekly time frame, so it was back here. That's where the Fed banned themselves. They didn't ban themselves down here. They didn't ban themselves down here. The Federal Reserve employee staff were banned themselves at all-time highs because they're crooks, right? They should be behind bars. And then it's called the banking cartel, right? The Federal Reserve is not federal, and they don't have any reserves. It's literally an organization created by the central banks, right, to basically create a monopoly. And it's just absolutely insane. I think the Federal Reserve is on the way out. I think there's going to be a complete revamp of the financial system. We're going to see a Bretton Woods, another type event, style event, and we're going to see that go away more than likely. We're going to see a whole new financial system, and it's likely going to be built on the blockchain and facilitate using crypto, right? So we're going to see that. I think it's going to go away. I think the U.S. is probably going to default on its debt as well, and that will be probably a major black swan that we're looking for. I also just posted a video. Gary Cardone, Grant Cardone's brother, mentions Ripple in one of his comments there when he was talking about if there's ever a cyber attack. He predicts there's going to be a massive black swan 9/11/C19 type of event. He thinks it's going to be a cyber attack, and he thinks that there may not be an election in the U.S. because of that, and that would absolutely do it. So we'll see. That's some pretty bold and doom and gloomy predictions, but even the WEF has been saying for a while now that we could see a massive cyber attack, and I think that it's very, very possible. I think there's going to be one of two things that are going to be the black swans to be looking out for. I think it's either going to be the U.S. defaulting on debt. Actually, one of three things. U.S. defaulting on debt. It's going to be a cyber attack, or it's going to be geopolitical tensions continue to mount. Like the China-Taiwan scenario, and then even beyond that, right? We can't predict the future, but all we can be prepared for is up, down, and sideways. That's all markets can do. So if you're wondering how to protect your investments, also check out the video that I did. If you go here, how I'm preparing for one of the worst, that should be enough, market crash in history. That'll do it. Just put in market crash in history, how I'm preparing for one of the worst market crashes in history, top 10 things. And it doesn't factor in time. It's all still relevant to this day. I did that video months ago. So like I said, no major red flags whatsoever. Weekly bull flag still intact for Bitcoin as the most likely scenario, weekly high or low. Same thing with the S&P 500. We knew that weekly consolidation was coming soon. So again, the top is likely going to be marked by lawmakers and Congress people being banned from owning stocks, right? We know that it's just a monkey could figure that out, that you shouldn't be able to craft laws and policies and own stocks. It just doesn't make any sense. It's borderline unethical, right? Well, not borderline. It is 1,000% unethical. So at this moment, we're starting weekly consolidation. What I've been saying for a while now, I said, very simple statement. If we lose the low of the previous weekly candle, expect major selling pressure across pretty much all sectors. And then we got this week, Bitcoin and the S&P 500 both losing the low of the last weekly candle. That's the first time on Bitcoin in 12 weeks. And on SPY, comparatively, is now on 10 weeks, right? So nothing goes straight up in a straight line forever. If you went short there, you would have shorted that. You'd be up about a little over 1% on the S&P 500. That's quite a bit. But you could even use SPXS, right? Which is an inverse leverage ETF. So if you bought that, you'd be up almost 6%, right? Because it's 3x leverage, inverse leverage. So the S&P 500 starting weekly consolidation. Anything over 450 is a potential weekly bull flag. And the likely scenario here is that we form a weekly high or low, right? So anything over 450 is a potential for a weekly bull flag. If we lose 450, then we're going to negate that. We'll more than likely expect to pull back to around 442, 434, again, the golden pocket. And then if we break above, if we hold 450 and then break above resistance there and the high of the bounce at 477.55, that confirms it, and we would be targeting 521. I do think we're going to probably exceed 500 on the S&P 500 on SPY. A lot of analysts have been calling for multiple years that we're more than likely going to do that. And again, Congress still yet to be banned from owning stocks. I think the likelihood of that happening is very plausible. Also, DXY starting its weekly bounce, coming off weekly oversold. I mentioned that might be a good idea and indicator that we could see a temporary top on the S&P 500 and the broader market and see weekly consolidation. Sure enough, we started the weekly bounce coming off weekly oversold with that lower wick on DXY, but at the moment it is just a weekly lower high. Anything under 104.26 double top there on the weekly time frame, right at the 0.32 fib there on the weekly bear flag too. Yeah, anybody who tells you technical analysis doesn't work doesn't have a freaking clue what they're talking about, because you can't make this stuff up. If you make this stuff up, you know, you're a genius. I don't know how you'd ever, you know, completely make everything align perfectly, and it's hilarious how this all kind of, you know, through either fundamental analysis or technical analysis, you can usually get to the same outcome, right? I always say there's multiple ways to get to 4. You can do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. You can do 2 plus 2. You can do 1 plus 3, right? Doesn't matter how you get there. They're all correct. And it's very similar with technical analysis. Some people get pretty out there and you know, kind of silly with all the indicators. You look at some charts and you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on, right? I like to keep it pretty simple. I like to look at uptrends, downtrends. I like to look at certain indicators and moving averages and things like that. I'm not a big support trend line, you know, type of person, but yeah, it's easy to get, you know, when you get into the Elliott wave theory and all this stuff, it definitely gets a little bit confusing, but I try to keep it as simple as possible. But we had the weekly bear flag on DXY, so we had our high to the low here. You move it out to the 0.32 fib, which is exactly double top. Again, you can't make this stuff up. And then once we lost the low there at 102.46, we confirmed the weekly bear flag targeting 99.70, and we had support at 99.57, and we got as low as 161. So 100 psychological, acting as nice support, but again, lower high on the weekly time frame, the most likely scenario. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did trend back down to that $99 over the next couple of weeks, as we look for a potential weekly bull flag on the S&P 500 and lawmakers to get banned from owning stocks. But ultimately, like I said, I drew this a long time ago. We were following the dot-com fractal here from the boom and bust. When the RSI peaked 4 years later, we went to the price peaked, and then we went to monthly oversold. Same thing in this everything bubble. RSI peaked in 2018. 4 years later, the price peaked, and then we went to monthly oversold. But I expected us not to do the exact same thing because of the fact that we have this massive injection of liquidity into the markets, right? We have trillions and trillions of dollars being artificially propped up, and the Fed is certainly looking to kind of cut back on its equity on its balance sheet, right? And that's, at this point, the Fed has been banned from owning stocks. Congress should be banned from owning stocks soon. What will be the incentive left for them to keep the markets higher? Nothing, right? They don't care about you and I. All they care about is enriching themselves. You know, some of these lawmakers only make $200,000 to $300,000, $400,000 salary, and they're worth, you know, tens of millions of dollars. How does that make any sense, right? So again, these people should be put behind bars, but at the very least, if we can't get them to go to jail for the crimes that they commit, if you or I did that, we'd be in jail for the rest of our lives. But if we can't get them to go to jail, well, at least ban them from owning stocks. That's the next best thing, I guess, right? There's two types of people, the haves and the have-nots, and we're unfortunately in that spectrum where we're the have-nots, and we just, there's nothing we can do about it, right? It's the same thing with like central bank digital currencies. Everybody says, oh, they can be used for nefarious reasons. Well, guess what? They're coming whether you like it or not, and they can be used for good things as well. Guns can be used for bad things, you know, but guess what? They're still guns, right? Anything can be used. Cash can be used for bad things. Look at the cartel. They transact primarily in cash, right? Does that mean we should get rid of cash, ban cash, right? It's the same thing. The same thing with anything. The internet can be used for bad. So CBDCs can be used for bad, yes, but they can also be used for good. And then Canada more than likely set to enact UBI, so Universal Basic Income. So it's going to be an interesting time ahead. But with this weekly consolidation, like I said, watch 450 as the most likely scenario to pull back to. And then, like I said, anything over that is just a weekly bull flag. And again, you can just take your fib tool from the low to the high there. And again, anything over 450, potential weekly bull flag. Metals, gold, still over 2,000 convincingly. Gold's easily going to 2,500 to 3,000 this year, in my opinion. Silver, we should see it at 30 to 40 bucks, but silver definitely weaker. Can't get over that $25 level. Is at risk of a weekly downtrend here as well. So key support there on silver, 22.50. Lose that, weekly downtrend confirmed. And then on gold, key support is going to be 19.73. If we lose that, then weekly downtrend confirmed. Tesla, so record deliveries. Stock still pretty weak, like not that strong comparative to the rest of the market. You know, blockchain names, miners, things like that, really stealing the show. And then, yeah, and on the weekly time frame here, still holding support there at 228.20. So as long as that holds, we're still in a weekly uptrend, and monthly uptrend, still in a monthly uptrend as well. Actually, we did form a little bit of a lower high there. Not enough pivot though to consider that a lower high, in my opinion. So as long as we maintain support here at 194, that's the most important thing. Lose 194, then we confirm a monthly downtrend, and that would not be good for Tesla. In terms of individual names on the day today, NAK, SUJMIA leading the bull list, and on the bear list we've got CODE, MVMD, and NKLA. So yeah, a lot of our Mara, for example, blockchain names just been absolutely busting, from like 311 up almost 10x. So from the low there up almost 10x in a year. So definitely high risk and high reward. You get your Riots, but keep in mind Riot isn't seeing as much of an upside because of the fact that it's just one of the larger names, and it already went from 51 cents up to 79 cents, right? So it went from 59 to 79. 51 cents to 79, that's 167x. If you put $1,000 into Riot back here in March of 2020 and C19 dump, what is that? How long was that? A year? 11 months later, $1,000 investment would have yielded you about $160,000 per $1,000 investment. So you put in $4,000, $5,000 into Riot, 11 months later, millionaire status. So why, in my opinion, why even bother trying to invest in this thing? Even if you're going to suck out another 500%, $1,000 into $5,000, the time has come and gone. In my opinion, I would just move on, and I think that will continue to be a trend on Riot, where and like, you know, what's going to happen when they cut down on mining, right? Like I can't see them allowing mining with everything that's going on with the you know, political agenda with regards to climate change and all that. Plus, you know, XRP and XLM and Algo, all these other things, they don't require mining, so why do we need it? It doesn't really make any sense, and we know that all the mining is pretty much controlled by China anyway. So a few mining pools controlling most of the hash power, so that is not good, in my opinion. Not a solution for the future. But on the bright side, I did get my Litecoin back. I just did a video on that as well. So I sent a transaction, and after 2 weeks, I finally got my Litecoin back. Luckily, I didn't send like 10 Litecoin or, you know, a lot of money or anything like that. But after 2 weeks, I finally got it back. It basically just didn't get broadcasted to the blockchain, and then after a couple weeks it finally got returned to me. So I was doing some research, a lot of people saying that it was more than likely like a mempool just finally dropped it, but not a solution for the future in my opinion either. I don't think proof of work works, and I think it's definitely a prototype, just like Joe Lubin, the co-creator of Ethereum, said that Ethereum was just a prototype. And yeah, then they came up with proof of stake, which just rewards the rich get richer. The more coins you hold and stake, the more you get back. So again, it's just a terrible incentive in my opinion. Like David Schwartz said, from CTO of Ripple, the best incentive is no incentive, right? So in my opinion, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Dynotech, the dial-up of Web3, right? It's the dial-up compared to the internet, right? We've got high speed on the internet now, which is your XRPs, your XLMs, your algos, your HBARs, your chain links, right? Those are your high speed utility ones, your Amazons, your Googles, your Apples. And, you know, Bitcoin is the pets.com, right? Just because you're first doesn't mean you're last, and that you'll have long-term staying power. So just be careful with these blockchain names as well. When something runs that high, you want to be cautious. Switching over gears here to MJ. So there's been some volatility here today in the MJ market. As I said, I'm expecting rescheduling at some point in Q1, Q2 of 2024. I was on record multiple times saying it was more than likely not going to happen. I said the most likely scenario is it doesn't happen in 2023, and here we are, 2024, and it's nowhere near in sight of being enacted. So I think it's going to be a while. I think we could maybe get a positive update in the next 1 to 2 quarters, but I think it's more than likely going to be to the tail end of 2024 leading up into the elections where we actually get rescheduling, and then the Dems are going to use that as, look what we did, we finally rescheduled. It's arguably the biggest thing for the MJ industry, even bigger than Canada legalizing at the federal level, and they're going to use that to sway young voters. So again, we're starting to see it become more and more prevalent in political campaigns, and I think that's going to continue to be the case moving forward. So the DEA tells Congress it has final authority on MJ, regardless of health agency Schedule 3 recommendation. What did you think when you read this? Because I was like, no shit, Sherlock. Shouldn't Congress have final authority on everything when it comes to anything? Why should we be relying on an agency that was basically put there by Congress? It doesn't make any sense. That's like saying Congress has to, that's like saying the SEC reaches, sends a letter to Congress and says, Congress has final authority on, laws with regards to the stock market. SEC regulates securities, which stocks are securities, but ultimately if Congress drafts a law or legislation, then it supersedes the SEC. I don't know. I'm not a real big political guy, to be honest with you. I absolutely hate politics because it's just a bunch of crooks, no matter what they are. Whatever side of the aisle, they're literally, like, these people need to be put behind bars, right? And until they start going to jail, like most people say, we don't have a country anymore. Even in Canada, it's just ridiculous some of the things that these politicians get away with. And to be honest, I don't even know how people follow it. Just absolutely just sickens me. I can't even listen to it for more than 5 minutes, other than absorbing the information that I need that's beneficial to me and my family, and bettering my life and my family's life and my friends' lives, and all of the people that listen to me on a daily basis. But honestly, I wouldn't trust any of these people farther than I can throw them, and I have absolutely no respect for any of them. They're just all criminals, in my opinion, and just absolute disgusting humans. So, maybe you get the odd one or two, but majority, there's just nothing about politics and political campaigns or the political area that appeals to me. It's just all smoke and mirrors and just, manipulation and empowering the already powerful. So essentially, this wasn't really much other than the headline there. They kind of just go off into reiterating some of the things that have already been said, and the redacted part of HHS's letter to the DEA, and says that basically now it's in the DEA's hands. So there's nothing really to see here. There was an article here. So DEA, Todd Harrison posted DEA reviewing MJ's classification punch bowl. Well, I didn't see a source, and then I seen a source in the comments. If anybody's seen anything, maybe you can let me know in the live chat here. But bipartisan House letter calls on DEA to deschedule MJ. So, not really sure what they're talking about here. I think that is old. I'm not seeing a date here either. So, again, it doesn't say that the DEA is going to approve the recommendation. It says they're reviewing. So, I don't know. In my opinion, this is just a nothing burger. Wouldn't worry about it too much. But we did have a nice pop after that. PCLO, WIB, BZAM leading the bull list. And again, it still has to go through the DOJ, or whether or not Congress steps in, that's going to be another matter. But we still got time to load up at very low prices. I actually added SNDL today as well. Yesterday. And today I added High Tide to my TFSA long-term no-touch account. Huge IMCC High Tide leading the decline today. So yesterday could have bought High Tide, but closed the day. Where did we close? Definitely higher. Yeah, closed the day yesterday at 176. High of the day was 181, and I filled today around 170. I think it was like 171. Very, very bullish on this stock long term. I just posted some videos on that as well. One of my top picks for 2024, and an interview, Ontario upping the amount of stores from 75 to 150. This is big. People who tell you that Canada isn't worth it, well, guess what? High Tide's doing over $500 million in annual run rate, and now they're able to up their stores from 75 to 150 in Ontario. Like he mentions in that video, there's still a lot of building and work to do here in Canada. And then just imagine when they go to the US and abroad, giddy up. I'm holding this thing for many, many years in my TFSA, all tax-free, so won't be selling that anytime soon. Some people were asking me, how come I'm adding High Tide now? Don't you expect we'll see more downside on the S&P 500? And if we do see one of the worst market crashes in history, won't that make MJ bleed out, well, yeah, I don't care. If it goes down to $1 or 50 cents, I'll buy more. But as of right now, at $1.70, if it goes back to all-time highs, you're looking at about a 600% increase from here. And I don't think it's going to stop at all-time highs. I think this is easily going to be a $50 to $100 stock in the next 5, 10 plus years. So I'm not here for taco gains. I'm not trading this name either. If it's in my TFSA, my long-term no touch, it's tax-free. So why would I ever sell it? It doesn't make any sense until I'm financially enticed to do so. So those are some of the movement in the Canadian space. On the US side of things, we've got BEV, IAN, and what's this one here? Oh yeah, the cannabis company, followed by Acreage. And then on the bullish, we have MRMD, TAT, and Veralist, MRMD, TAT, and IIPR. So we did have a nice pop there on some of these names. Let me just see here. Just give me 2 seconds. Just gonna attend to something real quick here. Airbnb guest messaging me. Those of you know I'm a host on Airbnb, so duty calls, just had to check, make sure it wasn't anything major there. Okay, so yeah, CL had up over 10% of the movement. This is actually one of the name Cresco that I'm looking to add. I was actually going to add it today, and then this happened, and then I had to come do the live stream, but I may look to add this one as well very, very soon. Market's already closed for the day today. If you use Moomoo like I do, you can still trade post-market, which I really like. Love the platform actually so far. This video isn't sponsored by them. They're a sponsor of the channel, but I'm just talking about how I love the extended trading hours here. They just recently came to Canada and Alberta a couple of years ago, and they're launching TFSAs and RSPs this month, I believe. That's still the plan. So CL is another example, right? If this thing goes back to all-time highs, there's massive reward here. With, there's more risk, but massive reward. Even if you enter now at the current price and we go back to all-time highs, you're looking at 10x from here, right? And again, if it goes back to all-time highs, why would it stop there, right? In the next 5, 10 plus years from now, if MJ is not going to ever go away, why would it just stop at all-time highs, right? So again, this will be my TFSA. I'm going to be holding for multiple years, mostly likely until the US legalizes at the federal level. All right, jumping in, I don't have a whole lot of time here, so I'm not sure if I'll get to the public comments and requests here if there are any. I haven't even looked at the chat yet, but I'm going to focus on the POW Group private community request first. And if I have time, I'll jump into the public comments, but maybe I'll do another video as well here in the not too distant future for public viewers on YouTube. So POW Group member would like to take a look at Tilray. Can do that, no problem at all. So Tilray monthly inside bar at the moment, so key resistance is going to be the high of last month at 252 and support at 175. So if we break 252, then monthly bounce underway for the second month in a row, and we look for 340 resistance. And remember what happened last time we had this massive bounce from 150 up to 340? That was when HHS recommendation to Schedule 3 occurred, and it ran way before the actual recommendation took place, right? Like it ran, and then it happened at the end of August, which was here, right? It was like August 31st on that Thursday. And then it only went up another 10% after that. But before that, it was up like over 100% already. It was over 100% up before the announcement of HHS. So that tells me that these crooks on Wall Street knew before we did, right? And then they use this as exit liquidity. And then exactly what I said happened in my HHS recommendation video is that they're probably going to say, oh, don't worry, don't get too bullish, right? There still has to go through the DEA, and there's going to be tons of opposition. And that's exactly what we got. Faded the whole move back, right? Again, preyed on retail, used them as exit liquidity, preyed on them here, made them capitulate, sell all their shares, bought them on the cheap, made people FOMO in here. Then they panic sold again, right? It's just rinse and repeat. And now we're seeing this massive upside from 161 to 57. And I also did a short video on this as well. I said, if only someone warned us about this. I said, literally, if you look at this short video, November 13th, I posted a video saying this could be our last chance to add before major price explosion. So Monday, November 13th, look exactly where we bottomed, Monday, November 13th. And then from there to the high, we're up over 55%, right? And then again, seeing a big move here. And where I'm going with this is, my point is we usually see the big names like Tilray, where all the big money plays, move in anticipation of a news event. So again, I think it's more than likely going to be at some point. Even Boris Jordan, the executive chairman, co-founder of Curaleaf, thinks that it could happen before or around April 20th, so 420, where we get rescheduling news approval and positive outcome. And that's lining up here. So again, if we break 252, then monthly bounce underway, and it's all about 340, break 340, then it's off to the races. We'll easily head up to EMA 26 there around 550 in my opinion. But yeah, Tilray, we had a Powwow algo buy alert go off on Tilray. We're going parabolic here in the stochastic and the MACD. It's looking really good. Same thing happened on the HHS move. And then in terms of the weekly time frame, we're getting above the 50 weekly, but are bumping our head here, so it's very, very strong resistance. So if we can close the weekly candle this week over 227, then we should head up to that 340 area and the 100 weekly there around 323. Get above 340, then we're likely heading to the 200 weekly there at 743, which a lot of names are starting to do. Take a look at Curaleaf, one of the leaders in the space. It got above its 100 and came very close, only a couple dollars away from, less than a couple dollars away from its 200 weekly. So if Tilray were to do the same, the more names that do so, the better as well, right? The more likelihood that individual names that haven't likely will. So again, if we get, a couple dollars away from our 200 weekly, that'll put us around $5-6, right? So I could easily see $5-6 over the next couple of months on Tilly. Tilly on the daily time frame, gearing up for another golden cross. So we had a golden cross, massive breakout, multi-year bear market. I said be cautious because we still hadn't confirmed a monthly uptrend, and we need that final shakeout before the massive breakout and long-term momentum shift and reversal. And sure enough, we got our fake out before the massive breakout. And I think the massive breakout is coming soon to a stock exchange near you. All right. Hopefully that's helpful. In terms of the daily time frame, yeah, daily consolidation today for the second day in a row. Still in a daily uptrend though. So key support from here is going to be there at 195, $2 psychological USD on the NASDAQ. Some people ask me why I only chart NASDAQ names. Volume. Just look. One day, Tilray had like $2.2 billion traded USD on the NASDAQ. And then in Canada, it was like, tens of millions or something like that. So why would I chart? I chart where the money is, right? So yeah, taking a look here. Weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross lining up as well. So this is the first time that happened since the major run up when the Dems took control of the Senate on hopes of U.S. legalization, went to $67. Then we had the bear cross, then we had the bull cross, got that final shakeout, and I think we're coming on our spring phase here where we could see that another EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. And like I said, time is definitely dwindling here before we see massive price appreciation, in my opinion. But looking really, 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 really good. Hourly time frame. No longer in an hourly downtrend here with that pop. But yeah, as soon as we get the article and the headline, DEA recommends Schedule 3, easily 100, 200, 300% in a matter of weeks on some of these names, or most of these names. It'll be like throwing a dart at that point, right? So Curaleaf, we'll chart the OTC so we'll chart CURLF since there's lack of trading history since it upgraded to the TSX. But yeah, monthly inside bar as well. And if we ignore this little lower wick here, which in my opinion was a massive bear trap, we're still in a monthly uptrend. Could see an EMA 12 and 26. Whoops. Could see, Could see a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross over the next, still quite a ways away from happening. So I would say maybe 3-4 months. Again, kind of lining up at that time frame around 420 for a potential breakout and news update with regards to DEA and rescheduling. Breaking to a daily higher high today, back in a daily uptrend with a higher low, higher high. So it's looking pretty good. We've got a lack of resistance to 473, and then after that 580. And if we take a look here as well, is it a weekly bull flag? No, we pulled back more than the 0.382 fib. So at this point, weekly bounce underway. And we're trying to get back into a weekly uptrend. So in order to be back in a weekly uptrend, we would need to break the resistance there at 473. But yeah, Curaleaf on the TSE Toronto Stock Exchange, you can see here we're seeing another bull cross of the MACD on the weekly and the stochastic as well. And we're coming up on that 100 weekly there at 619 again with very, very strong resistance the last time. So we're building that momentum. So if we can get a weekly candle close over 619, preferably 2 candle closes for confirmation, then we're likely heading to that $9-10 area, which would bring us up to the 200 weekly, which we haven't tested in a very, very long time. On the daily time frame, bulls trying to fend off here, trying to fight off a death cross with the 50 crossing down through the 200. Would not be surprised in the least if this actually didn't play out because of how strong Curaleaf has been, and going to be a very, very interesting play, especially with Germany set to legalize here and then rescheduling. They've already paid over $350 million with to the U.S. government under 280E. So imagine they'd have almost $500 million on their bottom line. Crazy to think about. This company is going to be massive long term, in my opinion. Very, very bullish. MSOS, take a quick peek at that. I'm sure somebody else in the live chat has already requested these as well. Kind of similar. So looking for a daily higher low. So key resistance is going to be 736 there. If we break that, we're back in a daily uptrend, and then a lack of resistance till 769, then 880. Weekly time frame, low, high, higher low, and we're working on a higher high. So if we break 769 from there, weekly uptrend confirmed, and then it'll all be about the monthly time frame. So we have our low, high, higher low. We're starting the monthly bounce, monthly inside bar, just like most MJ. So if we break the high of last month at 769, monthly bounce on our way for the second month in a row, and then we look at key resistance there at 988, break that, monthly uptrend confirmed, likely heading to EMA 26 there around $13. Seeing a bull cross of the MACD as well, so we're finally seeing things tilt the other way. Key support is going to be 599, and then after that 492, and then 478 the all-time low. So another bull cross of the MACD, stochastic blasting off, and we're above the 10-week moving average. It's looking pretty good. We're also maintaining above that 50 weekly, and a lot of names trending back to their 100 weekly. Just look at Curaleaf, right? Got above its 100 weekly. So if MSOS were to do the same, that'd put us around that just under $10. In terms of the daily time frame, we're trying to fight off a death cross here as well, and we're above all of the daily moving averages. So this is looking pretty good. But all about the monthly time frame. Saw VFF also today. Mentioned that in the Power Group private community. Village Farms sends out first MJ shipment to growing UK market. Yeah, Germany, EU, rest of the UK, and oh man, Latin America. There's so much growth, it's not even funny. The obvious dump obviously happened, Mep says. Yes, so I assume you're referring to crypto. Yeah, absolutely. We knew it was coming at some point soon. Weekly consolidation was just an inevitability at that point, and today we got it. But like I said, from the low of last week to the low of this week, Bitcoin's only down just over 1.25%. Like, you know, there's nothing to report here. that's nothing. That's just a blip in the radar. Don't be surprised if we go down to 38 or even 35,000. And that would still be extremely healthy, no red flags whatsoever. Cool off the weekly RSI, and then look to confirm a potential weekly bull flag targeting about 58K. And again, another potential for a weekly bull flag on the S&P 500 as well. Hello, Rod. Hello. Welcome, Jamlosi, to 2024 in the live stream. Happy New Year's, Rod. CGC, please. Ryan, yeah, we can take a quick peek at it. I don't have a whole lot of time left. I mentioned that CGC recently in my last video that it wasn't out of the woods yet. And sure enough, over the last several days, we've just been bleeding out from that high. The bounce there at 593, down about 24%. So key support coming up at 441, and then it's the all-time low in the NASDAQ there at 346. So again, still a ways away before we see a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Still a long time away before we confirm a monthly uptrend as well. We'd have to break above the high of the bounce there at 1920, factoring in post-split. I mentioned as well that we were looking at a weekly MACD bear cross, which we got. and we're seeing play out now. So the fact that we've had that is a good sign in my opinion, and we could be forming a bottom here in the not too distant future, but we need to confirm a weekly uptrend. Once we confirm a weekly uptrend, then the monthly higher low is set, and then we look for the monthly bounce and resistance there at 1920. So still not completely out of the woods yet. I think that there's a possibility that we drop even below 441 potentially, but watch that, you know, $4 area, maybe a flush of $4 potentially to mark that final flush out before we see a massive reversal, in my opinion. What do you think of the DEA talk today, Rod? Yeah, so again, it doesn't, nothing said that, you know, they're approving it or anything like that. So a lot of POW Group members were saying in the private community, we're like, oh, do we buy now? Do we buy now? And a lot of people, you know, on social media asking me, is it, you know, too late to buy? Absolutely not, right? They're reviewing, and there's no clear source that I've seen. So again, it's still going to have to get approved. Once we get the approved headline, then that's massive. But then, whoops, it still has to go through the DOJ, and then it still has to go through other regulatory hoops and red tape. So it's going to be a while, right? So they're not going to make it easy. So to me, I just buy low and hold, right? Have it in a trade account, right? I have a SNDL on Moomoo in a trade right now. I was up almost 13% at one point, back down to about 7%. But again, you know, that was more or less just testing out the platform. But I bought SNDL yesterday in my TFSA, which is a long-term no touch. I will not be selling that until I'm financially enticed to do so. Like it's going to be at least $25, probably before I sell anything on, or sorry, I'm thinking high tide today that I added. But SNDL, yeah, you know, like maybe I'll hold that thing to like, I'm not planning on selling it anytime soon. I mean, if you factor in post-split, if we go back to February 2021 highs, that's a 23x from here. So, and I think SNDL is going to be here for a long time, right? So, yeah, in my opinion, the DEA news, just a nothing burger. Like we know they're already reviewing it because HHS told them to. So that's the next step. So I don't know. To me, it was just a fluff piece, and yeah, I think we still have some time to buy on the cheap. Do you invest in the weapons industry like Lockheed Martin, etc.? No, I do not, Boris. Not even the slightest. I don't even keep an eye on it, to be completely honest. AYR, yeah, we can take a quick peek at AYR here. We'll take a look at it on the OTC. So monthly inside bar, just like all MJ pretty much. Still in a monthly uptrend, definitely one of the stronger names. I'm actually, this is on my list to add into my TFSA long-term no-touch account. Just waiting on I'd like to get it on a monthly higher low, somewhere around maybe around that $1.50, closer to $1 USD would be awesome. But yeah, it's monthly inside bar, pretty much just like all MJ at the moment. Looking to confirm a daily uptrend, 215, key resistance nearby, then a lack until 288, and then key support there at 157, then a lack to 107. So I haven't added it yet, but I would love to get it somewhere around that 150, closer to that area, and $1. So I might hold off on that a bit still yet. The S&P 500 still no signs of a weekly higher low being set yet. So I think there could be more weakness in the broader market. Still healthy, which would obviously be headwinds for the MJ space. So I'm still holding off a little bit. But yeah, definitely one of the stronger names in a monthly uptrend with higher lows and higher highs. And then with Florida potentially coming online and on the ballot, MJ on the ballot for 2024, this could be a massive story and upside potential here. I don't vote, F them. Yeah, why vote whenever they're all terrible and corrupt? VFF, thanks for the update, Rod. Have a good one. Yeah, so this will be the last one, so we'll take a quick peek at VFF. So as I mentioned, there was a news article there today that they sent. Village Farms sends first MJ shipment to UK. The growing UK market. But yeah, I do have to run, so I'll take a quick peek at it. So 2 monthly inside bars in a row. This thing is going to be massive. So key resistance is going to be 89 cents. If we break 89 cents, that's an easy swing trade of about 30 cents. Maybe a lot more than that. But we have our low, high, higher low. Looking for the higher low now. So if we start the monthly bounce, you can enter this thing, go long, say hit a stop buy. If we break 89 cents, buy it. And then look to swing it. And then if we break 117, we confirm the monthly uptrend, and then more than likely heading up to its EMA 26 there around 230, just like most names. Again, look at AYR, right? it got very close to its monthly EMA 26. The more names that do that, the better. Tilray got above its EMA 12, on its way. SNDL, same thing. How's High Tide doing? It almost hit its EMA 26. So again, more names starting to do that, the better. So yeah, it's certainly looking decent. BFF. And it's tightening up here, 2 monthly inside bars in a row. So break is imminent. On the weekly time frame, we're seeing a bull cross of the stochastic and the MACD as well. We just need to see a weekly candle close over 77 cents this week. And then, like I said, a lot of names trending back up to their 100 weekly. So if VFF were to follow suit, that would put us around $1.91. So all about the monthly uptrend confirming from here. And we are seeing a golden cross as well. We just need that follow through. And that's more than likely going to be on some sort of news. All right, going to end it there. I do have to run. So if there's any other tickers that come in, we'll have to save it for the next time. But I see we have over 30 people with us still. So hope you enjoyed the live stream. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. I do have to run. I'm already late. So hope you have a fantastic evening. I'll try to get a video later on this evening. We'll see. But thanks for joining the live stream, and Happy New Year. First live stream of 2024. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. We'll see you again on the next video.